So I titled this "Film Don't Lie." Georgia's defense mostly handles Auburn. We show the things that Auburn did that kind of puzzled Georgia a little bit. But Brent, this game was never really in doubt. Georgia got a lead. It maintained a lead. It was one possession, second half. So if you want to say that, but Georgia's still not giving up a ton of touchdowns on the season, other than a quarter at Alabama. I get that there's reason to be concerned in some spots, but overall, I walked away from this saying Georgia's defense, pretty solid game.
And you have to be really good to do things to them, like to really put points on the board. You have to want, like Milroe Williams, the talents that they were, but because the amount of minuses, like when I say minuses, like below average play on Georgia's defense is so minimal, it's hard to consistently sustain offense against them, and they're going to sort of strangle you eventually. They might let you breathe a little bit here and there, but and that's what this game was. There was parts where it's their offense is moving the ball. There's individual issues. There's open space, things like that. But consistently over, Auburn had 337 yards, but consistently over 4 quarters, it just doesn't lead to points unless you play great. And we'll show some things where some playmaking wasn't necessarily there. But the first play of the game, by the way, hello.
But Hugh Freeze was saying that Georgia was stemming too hard, and he was going to send this video to the SEC office saying that I guess refs have told Auburn that they were stemming too hard when they did it. So I don't know what that's all about, but I'd listen to that in his post.
I mean, I remember they called it in that opening game against LSU, in USC LSU game, and they called this as like a defensive penalty. But yeah, Georgia's still been able to do it recently. But yeah, Ingram Dawkins says hello.
Hello, Peyton Thorne.
Welcome to my world, Mr. Thorne. But what's interesting about this, did you notice what Auburn was trying to run? The little drop back, I'm going to pause, and then go roll out to try to get the back in the flat. I guess like Clemson. That was what Clemson did the very first play of the game that Klubnik threw into the ground, but there was a lot of space. Georgia defended that well. Look, I mean, now I will say there's some things Georgia did defensively formationally, I think, in this game that not on this necessarily on this play, but to combat some of the things that Auburn has done to them, at least last year with Freeze. But yeah, Ingram Dawkins leads the team in sacks, second in pressures. And the biggest thing for me with him, 201 snaps. Like, dude is there all game, every game, and playing his tail off.
Yeah. Health issues a lot in his career, and he is available this year, and he's thriving. We aren't going to show much of him in this. We have 12 plays here. Chaz Chambliss, I thought, had one of his best games at Georgia in this game.
Yep, another sack for him. Played well. I mean, he's in terms of PFF grade, he's the highest graded defender on the team right now.
All right, so on this drive, Georgia gets Auburn in a 3rd and 12, a little quick pass to the left.
All right, so people were probably ticked about this, but I was actually impressed. And I was impressed by one player on this play. And that's KJ Bolden. We're going to get to the tackling part, but watch KJ Bolden. This ball's thrown, and those guys are setting up like this, and the outside receiver is streaking. And he does a small little, watch him, he dips back one step. Hey, you're not throwing this, are you? And then starts coming forward. Because you would think ideally he'd want to instantly come scream, hey, go make this tackle, don't let him get a first down. But that's like phenomenal up here mental play for me, because
you don't want to leave all this green space if this is a pump fake and then over the top.
And you don't want to give Sark some ammunition in 2 weeks to say, ooh, that guy's just going to scream up the field on bubble action. Now, let's get to the other part. This is the thing that I don't get a lot of times, and I had the same conversation with my son, who's a senior in high school and plays football.
Where does he play football at, Brent?
North Oconee. That would be the Titans. Big game this week against Eastside.
How about those undefeated Titans?
You don't have to get blocked. You don't have to take the contact on. You can make a move, swim, rip, much like you're trying to pass rush here. Because if you just run and try to hit them, you're blocked because the other guy's running by you. That's not violent contact. I'd love to, especially if I'm Raylan Whistling, knowing I have inside-outside pursuit, like rip through there. Try to make that guy come back inside. by the way, 18, Chris Cole. I don't know if you noticed this or saw this. He got 8 snaps. Like, he's your
A lot of third down play,
Munden's-
yeah.
Yeah, he was the third down guy. You saw him on the field with Munden's injury. He's the guy who got those snaps. But yeah, while disappointing that they got the first down here in 3rd and 12, the Bolden thing to me was just, I'll take that. Don't give up a double pass and give other teams ammunition kind of thing.
Hey, one thing I knew, a quick pass like this, old Dirty Dan Jackson's chasing it down the whole time too.
Yes.
Dude's flying all over the field right now. And just to
No
be around the
regards.
tackle from the other side.
Find the football and hit somebody. That's his world.
Yeah, and he's good at it. He gets better by the week. And yeah, he's won preseason. You're like, KJ Bolden's going to take that spot, and George is going to go Bolden, Starks, and Aguero. And Dan Jackson has not flinched.
No.
3rd and 10.
This is who Jalen Walker is. Hang around, because I'm going to show you later who he's not. But his pass rush ability and his ability to spy, and because this was designed, like, he was going quickly as a run here. Go be fast. Go be an athlete. See it. Chase him down.
Business decision here?
I mean,
I would make that same decision.
especially since he wasn't close.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good job by Jalen Walker there.
This one was confusing.
Because?
So 3rd and 3, like, this is little rollout action, same sort of thing, set up and then roll out. And they get and I was very confused with Daniel Harris on this play. Because it's almost like it's almost like he thought the guy was doing an out route right there versus drifting. And the guy drifted and gets the ball over top of him. So you've seen a definitive rotation at corner. Him and Humphrey rotating a good bit. But that was, I will say, Damon Wilson hustling his tail off right here. Like, that was the other thing watching this.
This was the main takeaway I have from this play. Because look, if you throw a little pass over the top and it streaks in there, it's going to happen sometimes, and that's probably the kind of pass Peyton Thorne's best at, frankly. But Damon Wilson crossing the formation and stressing him and making this difficult. Yeah,
because if you don't let him make that throw right there, that's he's throwing it away because Wilson's right in his face and hustling his tail off.
I mean, or he tries to make a first down run over here.
Yeah,
it's 3rd and 3.
Yep.
No, never has that option. Yeah. How about some more Ingram Dawkins?
Like, just doing work. And so here's the thing that, to me, I think confused Auburn a little bit. This is kind of like a flip call with their defense, but normally, like, so you got 3 receivers into the boundary here. If you count 13, you're counting 13. So you got there, and look who's into the 3 receiver side, by the way, and playing in coverage. That would be Chaz. And you had the star, Aguero, opposite the 3 receiver side, playing to the field. I think that kind of messed with Auburn a little bit. But this is just speed rush. 73 looked like a JV player early in the game.
Yeah, early Georgia could do whatever it wanted to around 73. Just don't go straight into him. Make him choose a side. Because, I mean, it doesn't get easier than that for Ingram Dawkins.
And finishing. Like, it's 2 that he's finished. And there's a business decision to get down right there.
Interesting thing for Ingram Dawkins, because coming into this year, I would have told you that guy has no shot to play in the NFL based on what we've seen at Georgia. I think he's already put enough on tape that he at least gets the camp invite for sure.
And maybe more.
Potentially a lot more if he continues at the pace he's going.
I think he might potentially a middle round pick based on how he's played some of the things, because you can't teach and coach size. Now, this one was frustrating.
Yeah. So 2nd and 17 here. And now to this point, I believe we've already seen, it was the first drive, Georgia on offense. Dylan Bell doesn't quite get far enough to move the sticks, but it was only like 6 yards, I think. And then Auburn on a 2nd and 17 gets exactly what's needed.
And this is their field goal drive. But the thing is you've got two guys there. And yes, at a certain point, you might expect that, but good job play action from them. You get a little bit of pressure in the face. But teams, by the way, they're hunting 6. And unfortunately for him, he's been the most targeted DB. And this to me, and what you see here is why I think teams consistently target him. It's the transition from stopping to getting back involved in the play. It's just not quick enough right now. He's been targeted 19 times, allowed 17 receptions in those 19 targets, so 89%, 223 yards, 115.6 passer rating. He's had some great coverage on, really tight coverage on some, especially on kind of go routes. But this stuff, the stop and start, the part of playing corner, it's where teams are attacking him.
Another point about Dirty Dan Jackson, he makes first contact on this. Now I get that Starks has to keep him in front of him. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying Dan's coming.
Make plays. He's coming.
Going. Yeah, love to see it. This was special.
Call.
So curious by Auburn.
Yes, I did not understand this call at all.
But special shed from Michael though, who I know.
Like Michael and Brinson absolutely own this play.
Yeah,
because look at the pre-snap setup. Like they have 4 guys hanging out, just standing up, ready to rush, and you're like, okay, who's coming? Who's coming? And you maybe think, oh, we have a big play here because we're running, almost double lead counter into nobody. But Michael just that's phenomenal run defense. Brinson whipping, those two just own that play. All those guys to block those 2 players, and they own that play, dominate it.
It's funny to see the execution difference here of what Auburn tried to do as compared to, formationally it's different, but Georgia Tech in the red zone against Georgia doing some QB run.
Yeah. No misdirection here with this. That's
right.
If you're going to do that, have some level of misdirection, have some level of jet fake, power read, that sort of thing. But you got 6 snaps from Michael in this game. This was a big one.
Damon Wilson and C.J. Allen.
This is what I've wanted to. What's interesting with Damon Wilson is last year you could tell his frame was not necessarily built to be an every down player, but he was special as a pass rusher. Well, now his frame is definitely built to be an every down player, and his pass rush has kind of dipped a little bit. Not as truly impactful as it was on a down to down basis this year. But this is phenomenal run defense from him. Hit, especially if you're going to let a tight end block you, that's good. Everett, okay, at least you're offering some resistance and staying outside. The big thing here is 84 blocks 0, 0 people. Watch him. He steps through and then, nobody. Okay.
I'll tell you the other
Stackhouse. This is just great run defense at the point of attack. Because
Stackhouse is what I love to see. Stackhouse too. Back up, pursue. Boom. It's the disengage and ride the wave.
Stack, shed, make plays. Boom. See it. That's phenomenal work from 10.
So this made the game very difficult for Auburn because on a 2nd and 4, Auburn had to get positive yardage. It's just not a strong enough team in vertical passing to threaten Georgia, and we'll see why.
When they got players to do it, but they don't have the QB scheme to me to do it.
They have the receivers to do it.
Yes.
3rd and 8.
Create confusion. Because if the quarterback kind of hangs onto this a little bit longer, it's a big play. Because and I think Dan is, because you're Okay, so let's think about the look. Like, go back to the pre-snap. You're showing a middle of the field open, sort of too high look. Post-snap, you bring your corner. You got your edge player sort of going and playing the flat. And now Dan is rotating in towards kind of like a 3 deep. And he's seeing, and what he's reacting to is Thorne separating. Like, as a DB, you see the separation, he's reacting to it. Thorne just, you get enough of confusion from your blitz that he resets and throws that route versus seeing
over the top
that somebody's behind him. So you create confusion enough, especially against guys who aren't great quarterbacks, and you get plays like that.
So you brought this up earlier of KJ Bolden not putting something on tape that Sark could exploit. Is this something that other teams look at and say, "Oh, Auburn missed an opportunity here"?
I mean, yes and no, but the blitz predictability is a little bit low on this.
Right.
That would be my only counter to that. At least where it's coming from, because that's one of the things. If you can like watch Georgia's where they bring people from, the simulated pressures where it looks like this guy's coming here, but he's dropping. It's unreal in terms of, and that's why they create a lot of pressure and a lot of havoc. At least confusion is you don't know who's coming more often than not.
Good tackle here.
This is why Jalen Walker isn't an inside linebacker. He's got no business being where he is on this play. Like, this is you're the straight backer here. And by that, I mean staying outside. Chaz has got the back. 3's got the back. You got to hang out outside. And he's inside. Boom. Out the gate. Easy conversion.
They got the first down, but Starks recognized it pretty well and went to make a play, so it didn't turn into anything big. But yeah.
And what's interesting, like obviously with Munden's injury, he's going to rotate in at inside back or something. I think he potentially even started the game there. But if you watch his performance at inside backer in this game, he doesn't see it well enough. He's too much focused, like things, eye candy gets him, that sort of thing. He's best just coming downhill. If he's going to be in that spot, let him be the downhill guy, consistently come off the edge, do what he does there. But he just, at that spot, just as a read and react, it's not his strength at all.
This is one that's frustrating as well because Ingram Dawkins is there.
Almost had him.
Slips away. Yeah. And after that,
like CJ Allen, by the way, like as he's coming on this blitz, he gets tripped up somehow, and I think 75 kind of hangs on to him a little bit when he's on the ground as he's trying to get up. So he gets tripped by the other offensive lineman, and he tries to get up, and then the guy kind of grabs his jersey a little bit, I think. But this is phenomenal from Julian Humphrey. Remember how I talked about earlier, hey, you don't have to get blocked? If he goes and says, hey, I'm going to go engage 8 and not engage 8 like Madden, but engage number 8 for Auburn. Like, Thorne's doing work and getting more here, which, by the way, idiotic for him not going just straight ahead.
Hey, didn't we see that last week from Carson?
Yes. Like, QBs, go north-south. Stop going sideways unless your name's Lamar or Milrow. But just go make the play. The aggression here to go, that's outstanding. Outstanding work from him. Don't have to be blocked. Go make the play.
See the ball carrier? Go hit him.
Yeah. Like, forget it. Like, an 8's like, I should have got him. Yeah, you should have. But anyway. Now, this is obviously the big touchdown run.
Yeah, it is. And this is another that Georgia's in position, needs to make a tackle. I mean, if I paused it right there, you would fully believe that Aguero brought him to the ground. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Too high. And that guy, by the way, that guy's strong.
Yeah. And he's been in Auburn for 17 years. So
yeah, he's been good since he's been there, by the way. He was a Harsin recruit, wasn't he? If I remember right.
He may have been a Chiswick recruit. It feels like he's been there forever.
But
I think you're correct.
The thing is, it's the same comment from earlier. You've got to have a little bit of pass rush ability in your bag to get off blocks. Like, Aguero does a heck of a job here. He sees it, boom, and fights outside, and fights and gets there. But because he's fighting so much, instead of having a rip, having something to in the back to get off the block, you end up him being high, and now you just slide off. I wrote this after the game, and it's not anything. He's very solid on first and second down, but I think they're just better with Starks at star. I think because of the coverage ability that he brings, and you even watch them when they go dime. They brought Ja'Cory Thomas in, and Aguero sits. Like they're bringing sort of all their coverage players in more so than that. Was there one more? Did we have one more player?
Was there one more?
Yeah, I think we have one more.
I thought we were wrapped up.
But
you're right.
Fourth down stop.
You're right. You're right. Might be.
But I think that makes them better because to me, KJ, you've just seen enough mentally from him that he should be on the field all the time. And Dan's playing his tail off.
Dan, KJ, Starks at star. You like that?
I think that's their best group in that. Because I think those are three. Here's the thing for me always with defense: get your best 11 on the field. Those three guys: KJ Bolden, Dan Jackson, Malachi Starks. Those are three of your best 11, and that's the way to get all three of those guys on the field all the time.
And Aguero has shown flashes. Like I don't think
he's physical.
Yeah. I don't think we've really seen him tested in coverage at all. But yeah, he's a physical player.
All right, so when I watched this live, I thought this was the exact play that all Alabama ran with Milroe on 4th and 1, where Jalen and the running back hit and like the collision of all collisions and the helmet flew off. I thought it was the same play. And then you see Thorne and the way he ran, because like you see how it happened after the fake. And then you hear Q after the game basically call his QB out and throw his QB under the bus.
So just before
like the norm for him, right?
You see Thorne change the play, and my assumption, and I don't know this for sure, and I'm basing this off context clues from what Hugh Free said, I think this is just supposed to be a simple inside give. Somewhere in here. I don't know which gap they would be trying to get to here. But it was completely taken away, and Thorne didn't have the coach's approval to change the play. And he decided to do this instead. And I'm sure Hugh Freeze at, down 11 points on a 4th and 1, probably the wrong time for your quarterback just to wreck everything you plan doing.
Well, even like if it was like the Milroe play, you played it way better. One, you didn't get the massive collision, so Jalen's still involved in the play. But two, Everett didn't get too far inside, stays outside enough. Like if that's Milroe, he might not run it, but still. And then Raylan Wilson to me is the big thing, and he finishes the play off. But staying inside out, not seeing what's going on, boom, and then hunting.
Well, and look, even Chaz chasing it from this side to make sure that there's no strange cutback or anything. Well done.
Well, Georgia scored in 5 plays after this one up 28-10. I think at that point, everyone knew the game was in hand. But like you said, it's mostly handles, and it's very solid defensive play. It's not wow. It's not completely dominant, but it's just really, really good defensive play. And when you have that, and I talk this all the time, when you have minimal areas of weakness that can be attacked, it leads to consistent defensive play where somebody's got to play really well to do great things against you.
Because the worst things that we saw on this were tackles that weren't made. Aguero,
tackling's been an issue.
Ingram, Dawkins. If there's a way to shore that up, perhaps you see, like Georgia still hasn't given up. Again, outside of first quarter Alabama, Georgia has not given up a ton of touchdowns this year. This is not a defense that is easy to score on, I would say, in terms of sample size. And even since then, we're seeing Clemson's offense is probably better than what it looked like it was against Georgia, because Georgia shut them down.
Different team. They're a completely different team.
That looks like a playoff team at this point. And Georgia,
they might be a top 4 seed playoff team, by the way.
So there you
If
go.
I had to predict today, I think they're the 3. I think they end up being the 3 seed. I think they run the table and
ACC champ.
and can beat Miami, because I think they'll put the quarterback in situations where he makes enough mistakes.
And I think Georgia likes that matchup. Should it end up with a round 2 against Clemson? It's tough to beat a team twice. I get that, but Georgia just matched up really well with them. Hey, this has been our defense.
By the way, just out of curiosity, how much fun was the weekend of college football?
Oh man, it was funny. It was one of those that you looked at the slate and you didn't exactly know. I mean, game day's out in Cal for Cal Miami, but
that's the sport, though, right? That's the sport.
I tell you,
Brent,
not
matchups galore.
I could
delivers and yeah.
I told my wife, I said, Missouri at A&M, a little scary. I said Tennessee going out to Arkansas nighttime, a little scary. Little did I know. I could not believe how Missouri did not compete.
Oh yeah, they got
with Texas A&M.
They got dunked on.
I think what we're realizing is we don't know who's good, and just because a team has played someone else a certain way,
it's a week-to-week game.
How did South Carolina beat Kentucky like that? I don't know. How did LSU lose to USC? I don't know.
Yeah. It's a week-to-week game.
How did Notre Dame beat that Texas A&M team but then lose to Northern Illinois?
Yeah.
Because they're teenagers in early 20s.
Yep.
Same way that Georgia can look like that against Clemson and then look like it did against Kentucky. And then, I mean, I guess the greatest example is that 1 week Alabama's on top of the world with the Heisman Trophy winner and the Saban era gets to continue just with the new guy on top. And the next week they're losing to Vandy.
Yep.
There you go. ASW Distillery. Bama fans can probably hop in and get some, go ahead and buy some Hunker bourbon and help Georgia's Classic C Collective. However you want to. You'll enjoy the bourbon anyway, or the Hunker vodka. ASW Distillery, 5 of the 6 founders did graduate from the University of Georgia, so they like to say that they were distilled by dogs. Look, I know the Brave season is over, and we're all thinking about Max Fried right now and what they do with him. So as you sit and try to solve the world's problems, do it at one of ASW's tasting rooms. They have a couple around Atlanta, including one at the Battery, so go check that out. Oconee Gold barbecue sauce needs to be part of your home tailgate or your tailgate in Athens, which apparently needs to be louder from all accounts. So let Oconee Gold barbecue sauce give you the energy that you need to have Georgia ready for Mississippi State and have Sanford Stadium be raucous. And you'll be protected at Sanford Stadium with Breda Pest Management because they protect Sanford Stadium and Foley Field and Stegman Coliseum. They can protect your home too. Keep the critters away. BredaPest.com. It's been filmed live from UGAsports.com. We will be back next week to review Georgia versus Mississippi State. Following that, I believe we will have a preview of the Texas Longhorns for Georgia's next big test. And Mississippi State's
big road test.
Can Georgia handle it better than the previous time? We'll see. But before then, a big game in Athens. And I know we'll get a lot of chatter about crowd noise and what Georgia can do to slow down Mississippi State. Thanks, everybody, for watching Filmed on Live from UGAsports.com. Subscribe to this channel. We'll see you next time.